Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, and we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin charts. Yes, a Bitcoin on the 4 hour, as we can see, we are in a period of sideways consolidation here, well, in and around our $45,000 to $46,000 support level, the level which is probably going to be the midpoint now of the range we've established. So this range from about 41, 42 to about 52, 53. So yeah, I think we have fully and formally established our next range. So it is a case of how long do we trade sideways in this range for, and then ultimately do we break back above 53 or do we break below 41? That is the name of the game at the moment. In much a similar fashion, we had this sideways trading range here. After this move down, we had this range here, and then we did ultimately break to the upside. You can see we did bounce obviously around to the top and bottom quite a few times. And we did stay in it for basically twice as long as we've currently been in it. So we could easily expect to be in here until mid-October time, trading sideways in this range before ultimately making a decision. And obviously we all want to hope it is to the upside, but yeah, I mean, it could be to the downside. So we've obviously got to bear that in mind. But at the moment, we are just not looking too bad after probably establishing the upper side of the range, this being the lower side, and then and then we just digest price action within here for the time being. So yeah, not much else we can really look at on Bitcoin here. Obviously, like I said, we've got a low volatility here, so we could be expecting an expansion of volatility in a move to one of the directions. I mean, we could very easily fully and formally take a leg down, come down and test around just around the 42,000 in what would be a pretty aggressive bear trap if we were then to move back up towards 46, or we could just get a textbook Bart Simpson move back up towards 50,000. We obviously need to be cognizant of the fact that we could be confirming a weekly downtrend, obviously with the highs, the lows, the high confirming this as a high, and then obviously we would technically be looking for lower lows. So we do kind of to invalidate that, we do realistically want to get some upward price action, but we may not do that in the period of time required. So it may not start to look the best chart wise, but again, I would be looking just at the horizontals realistically for obviously making decisions on the longer term trend. So yeah, obviously we do know this was pretty much FUD news driven. We do know there was a lot of leverage. We do know we're off the back of a large move. I mean, if you were to look at this move from top to bottom, we haven't even hit the 50% mark, let alone the 618, which would be a frequent level, a reasonable level to test before then continuing up to the upside. So it's still an aggressive move. It's still not the most aggressive pullback. We are still basically at our first main level of support around this 46,000, and yeah, looking to hold that. So we shall have to see what happens. If we also want to go and look at some of the altcoin pairings, this pairing here, this Ethereum Satoshi pairing, Ethereum BTC pairing, is looking pretty good. It's just like a strong low trying to get down to this level, and we are basically trying to get back above this resistance. Obviously ran into a bit of trouble where we are now. So just this turn down, just this print as a lower high relative to these highs, or do we continue onwards and upwards? We shall have to see. But if we do look at this on higher time frames, this is not the most bearish looking of charts, as you can see. So yeah, we could expect to move up, and this could actually be an indication of the overall health of the crypto market and the fact that BTC will ultimately break to the upside. But yeah, obviously everything's probabilities, if, buts and maybes, so we shall have to see. Ethereum USD as well, if we get this up, you can see we did have a pretty much test the pullback into this level. We can see if we extend it along, and now basically finding ourselves back above our other two levels that we were looking at. So that is not too bad there. Pretty aggressive pullback there, pullback 4,000 to 3,000, but yeah, found ourselves at the midpoint-ish. But more importantly, we are basically back above all this price action, so this is looking good, providing we do get a continuation to the upside. If we do look to turn down, if we do take out 3,200 level again, then things will not start to look not so good. Bitcoin dominance, just look at it. Obviously we have got crazy things going on with Solana and some other altcoins as well, so it is, after in the context of what we've just seen in Bitcoin, to see the Bitcoin dominance now lower is pretty incredible, to say the least. So, and a very aggressive move down in Bitcoin. Obviously we did for the initial move down, lose against alts lost against BTC, but then as you can see, recovered that and some. So yeah, pretty incredible if you look at that. Stock market still looking a little bit weaker here, having a relatively decent pullback, still not of any the size that we are accustomed to, but yeah, maybe an interim pullback similar to this one. Maybe at this horizontal we're at, maybe this will be about it. We turn back up, and then everything, all risk assets start to look better again. The DXY was what is, I believe, is obviously causing a lot of this issue here, but topped on a 409. Is it going to reverse back? Was it just a pullback into, well, you can see there's a pretty nice horizontal level here. We don't necessarily want to convolute the chart by drawing more horizontals in here, but is this a local high? Do we come back out, and then do we take out these lows and then continue down? Was this a bit of a relief bounce at these important levels, a bit of a swing failure, a bit of a fake, well, a fake in, not a fake out, a fake back into the formation before we then do drop out of it? We shall have to see. But obviously we've got a clear high here. We take this out, and realistically we'll be looking for a test into this resistance. But are we going to have a move down? Is the market going to start to then not see as much risk in this if we do now start to come back down again? Obviously, if that is what is the case, then yeah, the market will see less risks, and risk assets may start to recover, including obviously the stocks and BTC. Not much else I want to look at on here. 10-year again, 10-year just as you can see, just holding around here, looking like it does want to break to the upside, looking like one of the most obvious ascending triangles you will see. But I mean, we don't want this back above this level, but there's still plenty of wiggle room between this level and where we are now. So yeah, nothing really screaming in our faces there. Nasdaq though, which you people, well, is technically more closely correlated to Bitcoin than the S&P, is looking stronger than the S&P. So there you go. Read into that what you will. So stochastics for Bitcoin, we do know we were looking quite tired in a lot of them yesterday, but yeah, 4 hour looking to turn up from a previous trend line, so maybe we will have some upward bias here. 10 hour, let's just wait for the 10 hour to load. This awkward delay. 10 hour swooping in on a trend line also. Is this going to be able to turn back up here and give us some upward price action? We shall have to see, but currently it is pointing down. 12 hour similarly is pointing down, but we do have a trend line that we can aim for, but again, that would suggest that we're not necessarily going to turn up in the immediate future. Daily is turning down and looking to take out this previous low in the stochastic. 2 days still coming down, 3 day turning down from a high level, 5 day turn down from a high level. Weekly still pointing up though, weekly and obviously bi-weekly. So I mean, overall, that read kind of tells me that the next move is probably gonna well, be a decent one, but then volatility tells you that as well. But yeah, if we can start to get a move back up, if we can get a move back to 4,800, then those 10 and 12 hours could be what pushes us back above 50,000. And if we do get back above 50,000, this looks like a very aggressive bear trap, and things will start to look very good for a move taken out obviously this high here and continue on an upside. Obviously the flip side will just be if we break down from here, take out these lows around 44.5. And then yeah, I mean, we'll be looking at testing down to here, but that is not necessarily the worst thing, assuming we hold it. As you can see in our last one, we did come down and test around the lows quite a few times, even below the lows, before ultimately blasting off. So if we do have a sideways consolidation, which isn't the worst thing, it's just The only bad thing about it is if we trade sideways and we are testing this low, it's like ultimately one time we could break it. So it's just better just not to be in that scenario. But if we are in that scenario, and as long as we hold it, it's not too bad. But that's a lot of if this then that, if buts and maybes, isn't it? So so yeah, there you go, guys. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.